Today's workshop is a series of workshops that I've created to help support people through this. And the series is called Managing Yourself Through the COVID-19 Crisis. I know that there's just a lot of uncertainty and overwhelm when it comes to this pandemic, and no one has really experienced something like this before. So I just wanted to create a series that will help people. And today's we're focusing on managing anxiety and what to do and what we can control in order to feel better. And, also being in community and connection with other people that are like us, feeling the same way and going through the same thing. And then also spur some ideas or inspiration, how we can maybe help ourselves get out of our own way and just to feel better. So this is mainly focused on, practical guidance and support. So these tips and strategies will allow you to immediately apply them to not only your career, but also just to your life in general. And I hope it gives you the inspiration and the motivation that you need to feel like you're in control and that you've got this, because the actionable steps that will allow you to focus on what you can control will hopefully encourage you to be in a more positive mindset versus feeling helpless and hopeless, and deter you from focusing on the negative, which of course, is very easy to do. So we're in community here, and we're in a community of like-minded individuals. So it's just a great time to be in connection, especially in self-isolation and quarantine, and especially if you're by yourself. So we're all feeling the squeeze here. So it's just a great way to stay connected and support each other. I'm going to be doing these every week on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. And Craig's my 2 for 2 right now. So you're always more than welcome to join every week, as they are free. And I would just love more people to get access to this. All right, so best place to ask questions after this live training is in the Facebook group. I'm going to post the link for you to join afterwards. And like I said, I'm going to, it's just a great way to stay connected after, while coaching and training isn't happening on these webinars. And it'll allow you to stay focused and just keep sharpening your sword. And there's going to be free resources and tools and exercises there. So if you haven't joined, join, and I'll send you the link. I've already posted last week's webinar recording, as well as the SWOT analysis that we went through. All right, so maybe everyone can just share here. What are your biggest fears around COVID-19, and what is affecting your mindset the most right now? So Craig, I know last week you were saying that there's just a lot of uncertainty, and with your service and your app and your product, that there is a lot of just uncertainty around like whether they still need your services or whether you can pivot, right? Is that still the same thing this week, or is there something else?
No, yeah, that's pretty much the big overarching. I mean, just it's been like a little bit of a pause, but
Yeah.
like I mentioned last time, we are kind of doing a gentle pivot, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to create this community aspect. So once people actually moved into an apartment community, they can connect with their neighbors and their property management company.
Cool.
But yeah, the biggest fear is just, it's the uncertainty and adjusting and not being able to continue to go out and speak with these property managers and continue to foster and build that relationship that I had with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Tom, what about you? What are some of your biggest fears around COVID right now?
For me, it's the extent this goes on and what the new normal becomes, particularly when it comes to what I do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
We're very far away from knowing what the long-term effect is. And it's that's kind of the all-consuming thing at the moment is where my efforts and where my clients are right now, what they'll be needing in the future, and when financially that's going to be realistic.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think we're all in the same boat there. Noreen, what about you? What's affecting your mindset the most?
I can relate to what's been shared already.
Mm-hmm.
I would add, from just a personal experience in the last few weeks, being in the same space all day. My space is small, so I do really love the space I'm in, and it has always been a place of joy for me. But I guess the but there is that it is small, and I am feeling cooped up
Mm.
And I can feel that all throughout my workday. I guess my fear, well, that's what's affecting my mindset. And my fear is that this is going to last a long time. And I don't know how that's going to impact me
Yeah.
and relationships and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
Fear
Absolutely.
of the unknown.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Paula, what about you?
I think that it's kind of what Tom was saying, adapting to the new. It just, yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm in Vancouver and I'm able to go out, which I compare with Colombia because people can't go out of their homes, not even for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And then going out, I feel like fear, every time I go close to someone. And it's just adapting to the new and how this is gonna be impacting my career.
Yep.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing, everyone. So our agenda for today, we're going to get some specific tips and strategies on ways to help manage your anxiety, what you can do and control to make you feel better, and self-care ideas and resources. So these tips and strategies will help you hopefully push through this crisis and feel like you're going to be able to handle whatever comes our way. So, right, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. So whatever happens, hopefully these things, in order to take care of yourself and make sure that you are good and level-headed, will only allow you to be able to push through this. And you all have everything that you need, don't you? All right, so how many of you here want to focus on your career? Just raise your hand. Okay, and how many want to focus on the personal?
For me, it's both.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, awesome. Then we'll make sure that we'll have examples for both as well. All right, so managing your anxiety. First thing, feel the emotions and allow yourself to move through it, right? Just to acknowledge it and say, it's okay, I'm feeling this way. What are you feeling? And where is it coming from? And what triggers these feelings? So acknowledge it and be curious. Where are the fears coming from? What are you most afraid of with this situation? So like you all shared, we're afraid of right now, like what's going to happen. We don't know the end of this. Is this going to be another 30 days or even longer? Is my career going to pick back up again? When are people going to be able to be let outside? And is this going to mess up how we socialize in the future? Is this the new normal? So all those things, of course, are things that we have never really experienced before in our lifetime. So to give yourself a little bit more credit, acknowledge it, and just understand that, okay, right now, the situation we're in, it's kind of fucked up. And so for us to feel what we feel, it's definitely okay. So I can't say more about that. And everyone is going through this. So we're not the only ones, right? Each of our individual situations, fortunately and unfortunately, is not special. Everyone is affected by this right now. And everyone is going through this and feeling the squeeze somehow, one way or another. And so that is also a little comforting because none of this is any of our faults. And no one could predict that this could have happened either. So all the ways that you are experiencing this and the emotions and everything like that is valid. And to recognize that this is temporary. We don't exactly know when it's going to end, but we do know that we won't feel this way forever. The economy is not going to be this way forever, and this crisis will end, and it will. And also, something to help you to manage your suffering with the anxiety is to remove, avoid, or limit the negativity that we experience in a day. So that could be people that like to share their negative opinions or their negative mindsets. And when we talk to them, we don't actually feel full. We actually feel a little bit more drained or exhausted. So just take note of that. Be mindful of that. Or whether it's the content that we're consuming. Are we consuming news that's only bombarding us with negative thoughts and, you know, seeing faces? Like for me, every time I see Trump's face, I just get triggered. So I try to limit the news that I intake, especially before I go to bed. And so just to be mindful of certain triggers and what causes our negativity and who contributes to that and what we allow to be absorbed. Any comments or questions on this one here? Or anyone want to share their experience?
Can be anxiety, as I was telling you. It can be passive or active. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't know. Do we know when we have anxiety?
Well, I'm not a doctor. I have to just say that right now. So what I say is all just through personal experience. For me, I don't know the difference between passive or active, to be honest, when it comes to anxiety. I think when I feel it, anytime I feel something or these like negative thoughts go through my head, to me that seems active. So I do know what it means like for passive anxiety, or does anyone else know what that means?
Like, for example, like I'm reacting to everything I eat. You know, like I get my face is just, it's just my body is I don't know.
Oh, I
My
see. So for
body, you know what I mean?
physicalities,
Yeah,
sure.
like a physical, yeah, like I feel differences right now
Got
because,
it.
you know, in my mind, I'm training my mind to be positive. I know this is amazing. I should, you know, benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, time is perfect to be writing, but then my body is kind of like acting weird.
Got
And,
it.
you know, even meditating is like, okay, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Okay. Well, we're going to go through some tools and ways to help you with that, especially to take care of yourself and feel better. But in the meantime, in response to that, it would be really great for you to record and reflect when you want to go for the bad food or when you have those habits that kind of feed into the anxiety or the negativity. And then that way you kind of have a progress or a intake on what those triggers are and when you usually allow those things to happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be a really good tool for you because eventually you're not going to be in that space and you'll be able to reflect back on, okay, what certain things created that environment where I just did those series of events and now I feel like poop and I don't feel replenished or fulfilled from that. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Next, what you can do and control to feel better. So now that you've allowed yourself to feel all the heaviness and all the crap, and we've had ourselves a pity party, because I know I've had a meltdown. Anyone else? Anyone else have a meltdown yet? Okay, good. Craig, you haven't? Wow, nice. Maybe it's coming, sir.
Well, how did you define a meltdown?
Well, meltdown is all relative. To me,
Oh.
after my first 30 days, so the first 30 days when we were coming into self-quarantine and the state orders were in effect and we had to stay home, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is not too different than my regular life. I don't really go out that much anyways. I'm just going to stay home and this is a coronacation. And then after the 30 days, it was day 31, I got some news where, you guys, buckle up. This might go for longer. This probably will. Another month or two. And it's going to take a while for the economy to get back up into shape. And after that, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Then that's when I had my meltdown because I just couldn't grasp that we might be quarantined for months and not have a certain idea on when we might be able to go back to normal life or if it will. So I just let myself go to that dark place. But then the next day, I started to understand where that was all coming from. And if my first 30 days looked like that, which is basically a pity party, and I'd have no regrets, I allowed myself to go there and eat all the bad food and whatever. The next 30 days, what do I want that to look like? And if nothing is going to change, and it probably won't, and if this is going to be the new normal, then again, how do I want to be for the next 30 days? So are you taking care of yourself? This is the very first thing to encourage a positive mindset so that you actually have the energy or you have the motivation to actually take on the day. So some positive activities to nourish yourself are you eating healthy? Are you exercising? Are you moving your body? Are you meditating? Are you sleeping well? Are you connecting with the people that you care about? Are you taking fresh air for an opportunity? You know, obviously with all the social distancing rules and everything, but is there an opportunity for you to get fresh air? Because over here in LA and California, you're still allowed to go out for walks. So for me, that's like one thing. And we kind of kid with each other, like, well, now we understand why dogs are so excited to go for walks every day. Because they've been cooped up all day. I'm like, yes, walk, let's go. It's like my one big activity for the day.
It's
Right?
so true.
Yeah. Or also like,
Yeah,
I feel like
really
in captivity. Yeah. Right? Because, you know, like in aquariums, the dolphins, the penguins, the killer whales or whatever, they just become all dopey when they're in captivity for too long because there's no stimulation and there's no, you know, just excitement. So, you know, are you doing things that allow you to feel good so you feel like you have the capabilities or the capacity to actually take on the day, right? Because this is all like really heavy. So you just got to make sure that you take care of number one. For all you guys there, what kind of positive activities have worked for you to actually get you out of the funky state and into a state of, all right, I can do this. Today's going to be a good day.
starting the day with gratitude really helps
Yes.
me.
Absolutely.
So that's been a daily thing, and I noticed that it's rewired my brain.
Just sets you on like the right foot for the rest of the day. That's awesome. Do any of you actually do gratitude journaling?
I used to, and then I stopped, and I should do it again.
Yes. Yes. I do that too. I spend a few minutes a day in the morning.
I was gonna say though, two things that I've been doing a lot. Like one is the exercise. So I rediscovered my bike.
Yes.
And I've been biking all over LA. Like
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
so much fun. And just like I try and make a goal to see a new street that I haven't seen or a new neighborhood. And so that's really fun. Just to, you realize like, wow, gosh, LA is really big, and there's so many types of housing. And then the second one was I discovered this app called Dial Up, and basically what it is it connects you. It'll call you at a set time based on a topic that you're interested in, and then it'll pair you with a random person somewhere in the world, and you just talk to this person. And it's really fun because I've spoken to like 9 or 10 different people now from New Zealand, the UK, Canada, different parts of the US. And this one person, I spoke to her for an hour and a half yesterday in Chicago, and we ended up adding each other on Facebook, and now we text back and forth.
Cool. Look at that. You have like a pen pal.
Yeah, it's like a virtual new, it's like a new age pen pal. It's really interesting.
Awesome. Tom, what has worked for you?
Finally, actually doing self-care. So from an exercise stretching standpoint, which I've neglected all my life, actually kind of stretching. So, you know, there's finally a bit of time where there's true downtime to embrace a program and actually set those goals and be able to see big progress.
Awesome.
And then on the kind of TV front, I've stopped binge watching. Before it was, you know, 5 or 6 hours of Netflix or something. And I've kind of cut that out, especially in the evenings, and that's made a big difference.
Nice. Awesome. Paula, what has worked for you to get you out of the dark state?
Well, I've been meditating twice a day, and I don't know. It's funny. Like I should say, oh, I feel amazing, and I'm trying to watch TV, and then I get distracted, and I go and I cook, and I just eat, standing up in the kitchen. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know. I don't know, guys.
No, we could all relate. There's been times where, all right, today's just not going to be one of those days where I'm going to be doing my best, and that's okay too. So another thing that you can control is, of course, the content that you are consuming. So I touched on it earlier, but are you consuming content that is fear-based, fear-mongering, like a lot of the news, they're selling headlines, right? And can you take a break from it? And, can you recognize that these are triggers that maybe trigger us to feel some of those things in our anxiety? And so something that we do in our household is we get 1 hour of screen-free time a day. And usually that happens with my family and I and my partner and I, and it's over dinner. There's no phones or screens at dinner time. And that's at least for an hour where we actually just get to connect. So I encourage you guys to do the same. Is there a part of the day where it would just be really beneficial for you to just not even touch your phone at all? Maybe that'll just allow you to connect with people more, or read, or stretch, or just do something that makes you feel good. And then I already talked about the screen time. And then also, do you have a day or a night routine? I know that a lot of the times, for not only for myself, but a lot of my clients, is that in the morning you have a set routine that sets you up for success for the day. So for me, it's I wake up at 7, or I get up by 7, and then I have my water and coffee, and I'll do a light workout, not too heavy, just to get myself out of the sleepy mood and like physically wake myself up. Then I meditate for 10-20 minutes, depending on the schedule for the day, but I always make sure that I get that in. And then I plan the day. So what are my top 3 priorities, and what are the things that I need to do in order to get those things done? So every day that I actually commit to that routine, I know that I'm far more productive and just feel good about myself because I already accomplished those things. So if I accomplish nothing else, I at least feel good that I did a little light workout, I planned the day, created some structure. And also part of that too is my gratitude. So 3 things that I'm grateful for in the day that I also contribute with my planning as well. And then at nighttime, what do I need in order to make sure that I have a good night's sleep? So for me, there's dinner is finished by 8 p.m. There's a lot of times when I go to bed too full, I just won't have a great sleep. There's no TV an hour before bed. So all that like white light, the blue light is very distracting and kind of keeps us up. I don't consume any news or any like fear content that triggers negative thoughts or any anxiety. And sometimes I incorporate stretching when I'm feeling really ambitious and I feel good that I've had a really good day. I'll do some light stretching at the end of the night, and then like low moody lighting as well. So what does work for you guys with routines and whatnot? And do you actually have a day or night routine?
I'm just trying to get my morning routine figured out. That's the one that I'm missing. The night routine is feeling pretty good at the moment, but
Nice.
starting the day with a kind of a productive, clear path. Since I've not had the same structure that I had for most of my career, it's kind of gone into a very wish-washy space.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't fully figured it out, and I think it's a source of some of the anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to incorporate that you think will set you up for success for the day, right? And success can mean different things, because obviously right now, since there's a lull in work, there's not going to be a lot of progress there. But maybe you can focus your efforts to what you said, like some personal stuff, like getting fit or getting healthy or things like that. So what do you need in order to have a great day?
I think an achievement of some kind is kind of vague as that sounds, having the day where you can achieve a couple of goals right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So whatever, I've been getting up earlier than I normally do, but whatever that kind of later morning leads into, knowing that there's been some accomplishment and there's been some kind of positive things moving towards, as I mentioned, some of the fitness goals I've been mentioning.
Right.
Finding something that I can put in as a daily structure for that.
Yeah, that'd be cool, because then it would be something that you work towards, that personal goal as well. Can you think of something the top of your head that might work?
Probably something fitness related. So maybe committing to early morning cardio, early morning stretching.
Okay, that sounds good.
Feels like I want to do it, but it hasn't happened yet.
You'll probably feel so much better after you do it, though, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The very rare occasions I've done it, I always question why I don't do it every day.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to hold you accountable to that then. Awesome. Anyone else? What has worked in your day or night routine? And do you have one?
So for morning routine, definitely the gratitude, that's been working. Doing some yoga. And again, my apartment is really small, so all of this is happening in like one space. With a partner also here. So good thing is we're interested in similar things, and so we can do a lot of this together.
Nice.
But the yoga, I do 3 sun salutations before my first meeting, which is really nice. I get out of the house before my first meeting as well. I think I'm also very fortunate to be able to leave my space and get out into the fresh air. And then one thing that has been taking place over the last 3 weeks or so is I've been holding morning sessions for my company, and that routine is interesting. Like the feeling of holding space for others in your morning, it gives just that extra level of purpose and that extra level of responsibility, and I thrive on that. I feel like serving other people always motivates me, and so maybe I wouldn't do it for myself, but I am so diligent about doing it for other people, and then I benefit because I also get to participate. So
absolutely,
I think in that way I've figured out a little bit of a hack for myself, is like if I want to do something, then figuring out a way to involve other people.
No, that's perfect. Because there's essentially 3 things that we all need in order to feel good and good enough to feel productive and actually set those priorities and hit those goals. And that's mindset, strategy, and accountability. So the mindset part is like the first point: are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing all the things to actually create the space for you to feel good and allow a positive mindset, right? To get you out of that negative thought spiral. And then the strategy part is actually this next point, which is, do you have structure to your day? So whether it's strategy with your career or whether it's strategy to your personal goals, do you have some structure to your day? And, with that type of structure, when it comes to priorities for the day, what I do and what has worked for my clients is you create a top 1 to 3 priorities of the day. And that's it, because we are simple people. And if there's too many things on our to-do list, we'll feel that overwhelm. And then we'll add on to the list, and it'll just get bigger and bigger as the week progresses. So every day, part of my planning and my journaling at the end of my morning routine is, what are my top 1 to 3 priorities for the day? And then I break it down into 3 things that I need to do in order to accomplish those priorities so that I can check it off the list. And then that way it's all spelled out for me and it's all organized. And if I'm feeling really motivated, and say if it's Monday, then I'll even plan out what are my top 1 to 3 priorities for the week. And so then that way my daily priorities reflect my weekly goals. And with that type of structure, there's there's certainty in this madness of uncertainty, right? So, okay, so this week I want to build my personal brand and build a following. Oh, someone wants to come in. Oops. I know. Sorry.
Hey, while we were pausing, I just put a quick note in the chat. I have a work meeting in a couple minutes.
Okay.
But thank you so much. And please read what I wrote in the chat. And those are my sentiments. I really appreciated being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Noreen. Thanks for joining. I'll communicate you via email afterwards and send you all the resources.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
So with the structure to your day, like I said, what are your daily priorities? And if you start out your day with that and create that type of structure, then everything else doesn't really matter, right? So a lot of the times when we're experiencing the overwhelm, there's just too many options. Should I be building my personal brand? Should I be building on my physical health? Should I be meditating, journaling, trying to get new business, trying to find ideas to pivot my business? There's just so many things that you could be doing. So I completely understand where sometimes we're overstimulated with the amount of options that are available to us. So creating that type of structure deals with the overwhelm, and then having the routine deals with the fatigue that we experience and the exhaustion, especially if we're limiting our screen time and the type of content we're consuming. And then, of course, with the mindset is just to make sure that you're doing all the things to set yourself up for a good day so that you actually feel good. So with respect to work, does anyone want to just quickly go over what type of priorities would be important for them to complete for the day? And then I can help them break it down for them, or even personal. Anyone? Paula, do you need any help there?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. Okay, let's say, I mean, my priority right now, it's, working on the third draft of my script. So.
Okay, great. So working on the third draft of your script. Why don't we just pick that just for simplicity?
Okay.
So what are 3 things? Are you writing this down?
Yeah.
Good. What are 3 things that you need to do to make sure that you accomplish that third draft? What are 3 things that if you did would make it inevitable?
I need to sit down. It's the hardest part for me, just to get going. As soon as I'm there, I'm good. But it's so hard for me to just sit down.
Okay,
and
so that means, what do you need? So one of the 3 things, as simple as it is that you need to sit down and create space, both in your physical space and also mentally, in order to write that third draft, right?
Yeah, which the space I have it, I'm by myself, right?
Yeah. So then that means it's more of a mental space. So then with that, what are 3 things that you need in order to feel like, okay, I am ready to sit down and work on this? So that means that you need to take care of yourself, right? You need to feel good. You need to feel like this is something that you can accomplish. So to break that down, what are 3 things that you need in order to feel good about sitting down and writing the draft? That could mean a good night's sleep. That could mean a good morning routine or breakfast. It could mean connecting with people that you care about. So 3 things that you need in order to feel good to even sit down and do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I did fasting, for example, and eating at like 12 and having tea. So from 12 to 7 eating, whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And sleeping, I was doing that, and meditating. So it's like I'm doing those steps, and still it's hard to just sit down and focus. It's funny. I don't know. It sounds weird, but.
Okay. Well, maybe we can talk afterwards, and we can walk through a solid routine that is going to set you up for doing that type of work that you need to be doing. Does that sound good?
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Craig, what about you? What about something work related? that like your priorities of the week, and that you could break it down for the day.
Hmm.
What are you working on right now?
It was basically creating a new feature in an app
Okay.
that we the app that we built. But I'm really dependent on the developers uh, implementing it. So it's having daily check-ins and touch bases and seeing
Okay.
progress.
What is something that's going to actually move the needle forward? What type of big ideas would move the needle forward?
Um, well, I think the big idea's been done for the most part in terms of the general vision of what we're trying to build. It's just now we're just getting it, the developers coding it now, basically building it out.
Okay. Okay. So what is left to do in order to complete those action items?
It's pushing them to basically finish it. I guess for stuff that's less dependent on them, what I could probably do, I probably should do more of, is more outreach to the property managers I've already developed relationships.
Yes, there you go. That's the real juice, because if you don't have anyone using the app, is it going to help people? Are
Mhm.
people going to have access to it, right? Because if they don't know about it, then they're not going to know that it's available to them, right? So that's some of the real work that you can commit to. And in order to the outreach and to expose people to the brand and have more people learn about it, what can you do?
Well, with the existing property managers I have a relationship with, I could probably set up conversations, phone calls with them over Zoom,
Yeah,
talk to them, and then
absolutely.
possibly do some referrals from the existing, ask them about referrals of others they may know that may have time to speak with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, referrals. That's a huge part of business and growing your business and word of mouth and getting your name out there. And then also, what other property managers could you contact? Maybe the ones that you haven't met before or have a relationship with, right? So outreach of potential property managers and owners that could use this app as a service that would
Yeah.
benefit them.
Mhm.
And then through each of those things, you're going to break it down into 3 more simple things so that you doing those things will check it off. So like, for example, doing the outreach with your potential property owners or managers, you have to do your research to see what the properties are, who the contact is, their email, their number, and do that outreach. You need to send emails or make phone calls. And then you need to set up appointments or times. So it's all very simple, but when you structure it that way, then there's no guessing on what you need to do in
Yeah.
order to make the progress on those goals. Thanks. And I'm
I like
going to, what's that?
I like that. Yeah. Simple. It sounds simple, but I like how you structured it.
Yeah, it's just a simple structure. And that's just what I follow every day so that I am laser focused on what I need to do. And then it's not so overwhelming because it's only up to 3 priorities for the day and only up to 3 priorities for the week as well. So it's like bite-sized, digestible, and I don't feel exhausted or overwhelmed just looking at my to-do list. So that's
Yeah.
definitely one productivity hack. And I'll post the structure of how I do it in the Facebook group.
Okay.
All right, so here are some self-care ideas and resources. The first one, of course, is your network and your support system. Do you have people that you connect with on a frequent basis, with those that you love and that you care about? And I think that's really important right now, especially in self-isolation and quarantine. Talk to those people that fill you up, and so that that also they're safe. So then maybe you can feel at ease. And also it'd be a good way to express how you feel to them as well, right? With a lot of the stuff that we're feeling, maybe we can just share it with more people and feel like we're not alone in this. And then also daily questions to ask yourself to get into a positive mindset. So I have 5 questions that I ask myself daily 1, what am I grateful for today? 2, what is one thing that would make today awesome? So maybe today it's get outside and go for a walk. 3, what do I need to take care of myself today? So what do I need that's going to replenish me and make me feel good and just put me in a good headspace? So that could be meditation, that could be yoga, stretching, sauna, whatever. 4, how can I move my body today? I know on days where I actually get some exercise or I sweat a little bit, I feel a whole lot better than the days that I don't. So I try to incorporate that every day. How can I move my body today? And 5, who do I want to connect with today? Sometimes it could be an old friend, an old colleague, an old mentor, but I try to connect with someone different every day. And so if any of you want those questions or didn't write that down, I'll post that into the Facebook group as well. And then, of course, the classic, don't be so hard on yourself. I know that just in general, we are really hard on ourselves, and there's a lot of content out there that's saying, okay, this is the time. If I don't create a new business out of this crisis, I'm no good. Or if I don't try to be my personal best, then, you know, I'm a loser or whatever. You know, it's just because like this time right now, we're all just going through a lot. So just to be kinder, be gentler, because if a friend were going through something similar, and they are, you know, what would you say to them to comfort them or to make them feel better? You wouldn't necessarily say, hey, you should be writing your next book right now, or you should be writing your next draft, Paula. Or Tom, you should be in your best physical shape right now during this crisis. So just in general, don't be so hard on yourself. And then of course, just some ideas for positive content, some podcasts that I really love. And this may not apply to you, but Oprah's Super Soul Sundays, that's always feel good. It's always success stories of people that have, you know, come from a lot of the times from nothing and made something of themselves. So I love stories like that. Also, a friend of mine has the Jordan Harbinger show. He's a great interviewer, and he's very articulate and well thought out with his interview questions. So think of a nicer version of Joe Rogan, but as intellectual, and does put the other person on the spot with answering hard questions. So he doesn't often let them get away with it, like say someone like Tim Ferriss, where it's almost like a fluff piece. So I find that Jordan does a really good job of that. And then also Armchair Expert. Do you guys have any podcasts that you love and listen to? Tom, you listen to a ton of podcasts. What do you listen to?
I do, but a number of them at the moment, they're not quite right for me. Even things like The Daily, the New York Times one.
Oh,
it's
sure.
very real. So,
right.
you know,
So it's
I was
kind
just
of fear.
scanning today, and, you know, it's real, it's reality.
Yeah.
But it's not needed. A little bit like we're talking about digesting news.
Yeah.
We know it's serious,
yeah.
but to hear heart-wrenching stories of people on the front line of medical, that's not going to move the needle as far as positive outlook.
You feeling good, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'd be curious to look at more down that, you know, down the line of the Joe Rogan-esque, maybe a bit softer. But
yeah, okay, then
just
try
bringing
out
long form
try out
conversations.
Jordan Harbinger show. He's got all of the top authors and athletes and celebrities and stuff. So that would be a really cool one for you to check out. I think you'd actually really like it. Craig, what about you?
Podcast? Oh, I'm trying to think. I haven't been listening to any lately other than like The Daily and like news oriented.
Right. What are some positive content things that you consume?
I don't think I've been consuming a lot of positive.
What? Really?
Like everything's about, and then you get into these Facebook arguments with people. I'm like, okay, never mind.
Oh no. Okay, then we got to turn that around.
I know. Well, you had mentioned like the positivity and negativity and being able to turn that on, and I think that is important.
Absolutely, you're in control of that, right?
I did want to comment though about how you mentioned, like, I think it's important what you said. Don't be so hard on yourself, because I was reading a couple articles, and it makes a lot of sense where we're all collectively grieving right now, like life as we knew it before.
Yeah.
And when you grieve, like when my brother passed away unexpectedly almost 7 years ago now, like I remember for 2 3 weeks, I didn't do anything. Like I was in pure shock,
Yeah,
and I didn't actually go back
understandably.
to work until like a month later. And it was so hard. I mean, obviously this isn't the same, but like we're grieving life as we knew it before, and you
Yeah.
can't be productive when you're grieving.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be expected. You need to feel the different emotions and kind of go through that whole grief life cycle.
Yeah.
So it's important to realize like this isn't the time where you're going to be you're going to develop that six-pack abs or whatever and be your most fittest and be maintaining your vegan healthy lifestyle 24/7.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Just to not be so hard on yourself, but at the same time, um, to not let that anxiety drive your plan or drive your life either.
Yeah.
Right. So move through it, allow yourself to feel it,
Mm-hmm.
and then what? Because if this is going to be the new normal, then that can't be your normal.
Yeah.
Right. Because to survive, we can't live in the dark place forever.
Yep.
Yep. Good. Well, some books that I love are success stories, like I said. So people have been through something and came out stronger than ever, or some positive TED Talks, or funny accounts that I love, animal accounts where animals are doing silly things, like Chill Wildlife, or there's this other one on Instagram called Tiny Gentle Asians, and it's little Asian babies that are really fat with rolls that just do regular things, but they're so cute. So I make sure that I consume some of that content to make me feel good. And then this one, contrary to what I was saying before, yes, allowing yourself to be in that space to feel that collective grief, but at the same time, once you have allowed yourself there, what are we going to do with this time? Because there can be a lot of opportunity. And if you don't really have the opportunity or the desire to grow your business in a time, especially when there's a lull, can we use this time to learn about ourselves more and to reflect? So even if we're in a funky space, using the tools that we have and the resources to reflect on, okay, what kind of triggers are there to put myself in a more negative space, or creates that anxiety? What exacerbates it? Right? To know, okay, this is the negative, and what do I need in order to have a more positive outlook? And so if work is slow, then of course use that time to reflect more. And if there are opportunities for work, maybe this is a great time to just go through that SWOT analysis and see what some of the opportunities might be. And maybe just journaling every day is going to allow yourself to see the progress week to week, and some personal goals as well. So, like I said, there's going to be a Facebook group. I'm going to post all of the resources there for you guys. Last week was productivity, so a lot of the tools and exercises from that webinar are already on there. And then for this week, I'll post the structure of the day and also those daily quarantine questions that I ask myself. Any questions? You guys have anything?
I had a comment to make on your last slide about turning a crisis into opportunity.
Yeah.
That reminds me a lot of the Chinese word for crisis, where half of it is the word for weiji. Like the first part is crisis, but then the second part is opportunity. So like they're trying to say, out of every crisis comes some opportunity. So
Yeah, they're symbiotic.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Any other questions? Great. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm starting a group coaching program that's going to be more economical, as I understand that a lot of people are not in a position to get one-on-one coaching, but also some are. But if that's something that you're interested in, the group coaching program, I'd love to ask you some questions about what would be most important for you in terms of value and support. And in turn, I'll give you some coaching. So if that is up your alley at all, then just let me know and we can set up a time to talk.